3 of my students started working with us 30 days ago with 0 clients, 0 ads running, and honestly, 0 confidence in their ability to even make this work in the first place. One of them, Nathaniel, joined exactly 7 days ago. Within a week, he closed an $8,000 contract and collected $2,000 upfront this morning, actually. Another student, Kaelan, was grinding away doing real estate media, making about $10,000 a month, but working 60-hour weeks with clients churning every few months. Today, just 4 months later, he's sitting at $17,500 per month in recurring revenue with better profit margins and a fraction of the time to fulfill for his clients. Then there's Isaac. Isaac took 3 months to launch his first ad. 3 months of overthinking, analysis paralysis, and making excuses. We literally had to hunt him down and light a fire under his ass to get him moving. But here's the crazy part. Once he finally launched, it took him exactly 2 days from scripting, filming, to editing, to going live. Within 24 hours, he had 8 sales calls booked on his calendar at $4 per lead. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what every student we work with has to go through to reach success. The good, the bad, and the brutally honest reality of what the first 30 days actually look like when you're trying to build a video agency past $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 per month in revenue. Because what I'm about to show you will either inspire you to take action or make you realize this isn't for you. And honestly, both outcomes are valuable. The worst thing you can do is waste months of your life on something you're not actually committed to. Now, let's talk about the lie that you've been sold. Most YouTube gurus will show you the highlight reel, the success stories, the big wins, the I made $50,000 in my first month nonsense that gets clicks but destroys expectations. But what they don't show you is the messy middle, the analysis paralysis that hits in week 2 when you're staring at a blank Google Doc trying to write your first ad script. The fear of putting your face on camera that stops people dead in their tracks. And yes, even videographers who are comfortable behind the camera freeze up when they have to be in front of it. The sales calls that don't close because you haven't learned how to handle objections yet. The mental barriers that almost make people quit before they even get started. Now, I've been coaching videographers for over 3 years now, helping them escape the feast or famine cycle and build predictable, scalable video businesses. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the difference between those who make it and those who don't has nothing to do with talent behind the camera, equipment, or even experience. And it has everything to do with their ability to push through the uncomfortable parts that nobody wants to talk about. So let me give you a perfect example. Remember Isaac, the one that I told you about earlier? The guy who took 3 months to finally just launch ads? He's incredibly talented, great eye for composition, understands lighting better than most cinematographers that I know. He's got all the gear that you could want, but none of that mattered when he was sitting on his couch overthinking every single word of his ad script to start closing more deals. Meanwhile, Nathaniel joined a week ago with less experience, cheaper equipment, and honestly, less polished video skills. But he had something Isaac didn't have for those first 3 months: urgency. He took imperfect action. He followed the process, trusted the system, and within 7 days closed an $8,000 contract and collected $2,000 up front. The difference wasn't skill, it was mindset. And what this video will actually show you, if you've been wondering what it actually takes to go from feeling stuck in a never-ending cycle, making $5,000 to $10,000 per month, not having enough time to market because you are buried in fulfillment, watching clients churn because the organic content strategy just isn't hitting, this video is going to give you the unfiltered truth. No sugarcoating, no fake timelines, no I made 6 figures in 30 days, clickbait. Just the real process that my students go through week by week, obstacle by obstacle, breakthrough by breakthrough. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you exactly why some students like Nathaniel closed their first $8,000 by week 1 and why Kaelan went from $10,000 to $17.5K per month with a brand new offer in just 4 months. And why others like Isaac are still working through their mental blocks after 90 days, and what finally changed for him. But first, let me walk you through what actually happens week by week, because the timeline I'm about to show you will either inspire you or terrify you. And honestly, it should do both. But here's what nobody tells you about building a business. The biggest obstacles are not external. They're not your competition, it's not your market, or your lack of resources. The biggest obstacles are the ones between your ears. So let's talk about week 1. Week 1 starts with an onboarding call where I set expectations. And here's the first reality check that hits every single student. Most people think they're going to jump straight into making ads and getting clients. Wrong. Dead wrong. The first thing they have to do is learn what makes a good offer in the first place. They need to understand what an offer actually is and what to sell their clients before they can sell anything. And this is where I watch people's faces change on our first one-on-one call. They all of a sudden realize this isn't just about making really cool looking videos. This is about understanding business, understanding value, understanding what clients actually need versus what we as videographers think they want. Let me tell you about Kaelan's transformation because it perfectly illustrates this point. See, when he came to us, he was doing real estate media, property tours, drone shots, twilight photography, the whole 9 yards. He was making about $10K per month on average, fluctuating, which sounds decent until you realize he was working 60 to 70-hour weeks. His profit margins were pretty thin because of all the equipment, travel costs, contractors, and his clients would just churn out after a few months because, well, how many property videos does one real estate agent really need? And it's totally all over the place in terms of how frequently they need it. He was stuck in what I call the freelancer trap, trading time for money with no scalability, no predictability, no team, and no leverage. During our first call, I asked him a simple question. What problem are you actually solving for your clients? And he said, well, I'm making their properties look amazing. And I said, okay, but what does that get them? He paused. Well, more interest in the property. And what does that get them? More showings. And what does that get them? More sales. There it is. So you're not selling property videos. You're selling a system to generate more qualified buyer leads that turn into closed deals, ideally. The video is just the vehicle. That one conversation shifted everything for Kaelan. We completely pivoted his offer. And instead of selling one-off property videos to real estate agents, he now sells a comprehensive lead generation system using video ads that drive qualified lead flow, capture qualified buyer information, and feed his client's CRM with people who are actually ready to buy. Same video skills, completely different offer, completely different business model. And within 2 weeks of joining, Kaelan had his ads up and running, and he was working with local service-based businesses, high-ticket businesses. 1 week after that, he closed his first deal using our new offer framework. 4 months later, he is now at $17.5K per month in recurring revenue, working fewer hours with better profit margins and clients who don't churn because he's actively making them money every single month. And that's the power of having the right offer. Now, during week 1, students review what we call the offer cheat sheet. It's essentially a shortened version of what we coach them to sell their clients. We make it super simple. And here's what it's not. It's not brand videos. It's not testimonials. It's not organic content that may or may not work depending on the algorithm gods. What we teach is a systematic approach to generating qualified leads through video ads that convert into booked sales appointments for his clients. Think about it from the client's perspective, right? They don't care about your camera. They don't care about your color grading. Dude, we have somebody doing more than $25K per month filming with his phone and a gimbal. They don't care about your film festival awards. They care about one thing, results, money in their pocket. Clients don't pay for beautiful videos. They pay for customers, more revenue, more growth. Your job is not to win film festivals. Your job is to make them money. And this is where I see the first group of people get really overwhelmed. They want to skip this part and jump to the fun stuff, making videos. But here's the truth that separates successful videographers from the ones that are struggling to build a sustainable business. If you don't know what you're selling or why someone should buy it, your ads won't work no matter how pretty they look. You could have the most cinematic, emotionally compelling ad in the world, but if it's not driving qualified leads to a clear call to action that moves prospects through a conversion funnel, it's just expensive art. And art doesn't pay the bills. Systems do. So by the end of week 1, students should have a really clear understanding of what offer they're selling, lead generation systems, not just videos, for local high-ticket service businesses, who they're selling to, aka specific niche, so again, high-ticket service businesses, why someone should buy it, because it generates measurable ROI, not because it looks good, or some abstract outcome, how to articulate the value in terms of business outcomes and KPIs, not video deliverables. And this foundation is everything. And without it, everything else falls apart. Now, let's talk about week 2. And week 2 is where things get really interesting. It's also where I lose about 10 to 20% of my students, not because the work is hard, but because there's a mental barrier that every entrepreneur has to face at some point. You cannot escape this part, and it's what stops average people from becoming successful people. Analysis paralysis. Week 2 is when they script their ads, and suddenly they're hit with information overload. They feel like they're drinking from a fire hose. They start overthinking everything. What if my script isn't good enough? What if I'm targeting the wrong people? What if my hook doesn't grab attention? I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I just got to push a button. What if nobody responds? What if I sound stupid? I've seen students spend 3 weeks perfecting a script that should take 1 hour to write. They'll rewrite the same hook 47 times. They'll research their target market until they know the most about roofing companies and they know more about them than the actual roofers. They'll consume every piece of content about ad copywriting that we have until their brain is fried and they can't make a decision. And this is exactly what happened to Isaac. He's a smart guy. He's really smart. Maybe too smart for his own good because he spent 3 months, 90 days stuck in this phase. I love you, Isaac. He's crushing now. He's printing, getting a ton of leads. He'd write a script, then convince itself that it wasn't good enough. He'd film something, then delete it because it didn't like how he looked on camera. He'd get to 90% of the way to launching and then find some new optimization he needed to make first. Or most importantly, he'd get super busy with other client work and then put it off to the side. We literally had to hunt him down. I'm talking multiple calls, messages, tough love conversations where basically we're like, dude, you're not going to figure this out by thinking about it more or by getting distracted with other clients that aren't paying you your worth. You're going to figure it out by launching, getting data, and iterating. So stop trying to make it perfect and just make it exist. Get it launched. Finally, after 3 months of spinning his wheels, Isaac committed to a deadline. He gave himself 48 hours. We even just gave him the script. We're like, dude, just use this. Just say this thing, which is now what we do for all of our students. No more excuses, no optimizing, just ship it, film it, get it launched. You know what happened? He got it filmed in 45 minutes, edited it in 4 hours, launched it that night. And within 24 hours of his ad going live, he had 8 sales calls booked at a cost of $4 per lead. $4. That's less than a Starbucks coffee to get a business to raise their hand and say, I want to pay you. And he's getting qualified businesses on the phone ready to talk about a $10,000 service. All that time he wasted because the work wasn't hard. It was because he was in his own head. Now, here's how we help students break through. And this is where coaching becomes crucial. We tell them, stop looking at how you're going to move the mountain. Just pick up the stone in front of you and move it. We give them example ad scripts, copy paste they can use from other students who have already succeeded. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just copy first and then you can iterate. And instead of guessing what works, they're using proven frameworks and concepts. They're not starting from scratch. They're starting from what's already been tested and validated. We have a library of winning ad scripts organized by niche. And if you're targeting roofing companies, you're targeting service businesses, here are 5 scripts that have generated leads, qualified leads at under $30 per lead. If you're targeting another business or a different industry, same thing. We have examples of ads that are performing exactly for that niche. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when you're first getting started, nor should you. You just have to follow the blueprint. But then comes the next hurdle that stops most people dead in their tracks. Filming. After the script's done, they need to film it with their face on camera and get it edited. You can hire someone to edit it for as little as $15 to $20. That's not the real problem here. The real problem is that most videographers are so used to being behind the camera that they don't even realize that they're terrified of putting themselves in front of it. Most people that I talk to, you'd be surprised, are actually like, well, can I find someone else? Can I just have somebody else do it? They try to avoid the uncomfortable reality of what they need to do. I've had students spend 3 weeks perfecting a script, not because of analysis paralysis, but because they're avoiding the filming part. They're scared of being judged, scared of not looking professional enough, scared of sounding stupid, scared of failure. And all of it comes crashing down in week 2. Here's what we tell them. You're not trying to win an Oscar, bro. You're trying to start a conversation with a business owner who has a problem that you can solve. They don't give a shit about how good your lighting is or if you've stumbled over a word. They care if you can help them get more customers. That's it. In fact, some of the best performing ads that we've ever run look like they were shot on an iPhone, and they actually were. And they converted like crazy because the message was clear. The offer was compelling, and the call to action was obvious. Perfection is the enemy of progress. And in week 2, progress is the only thing that matters. It is moving with urgency. So by the end of week 2, students should have a completed ad script using our proven frameworks, filmed footage, even if it's not perfect, an edit ready to go, overcome the mental barrier that doesn't even exist. They're just conceptualizing it in their own head, putting themselves out there. And if they can get through week 2, they're already ahead of 80% of people who start this journey in the first place. That is the hard part, and it's not even that hard. Now, week 3 is where we separate the action takers from the excuse makers. And what happens in the 3rd week will determine whether someone makes their first $10,000 month or gives up and goes back to their old way of doing things. Now, the good news is with everything that we have in place, I've had maybe a couple people end up doing that. And this is when students start setting up the ads and watching our follow-along trainings. No more planning, no more preparing, no more getting ready to get ready. It's time to spend money on ads and see what results you get. And guess what? We get some pretty nasty results within 24 hours. If they push through the mental barriers from weeks 1 and 2, they should get their first sales calls within a few days. But here's what nobody tells you. Getting sales calls and closing sales calls are 2 completely different skills. I know you guys are probably watching, you're going, oh man, if I can get someone in front of me, I'll close them. You can have the best ad in the world, but if you can't close the call, you're just wasting money on leads that go nowhere. And let me tell you, sales is a difficult skill to develop. And this is why we have a comprehensive sales training built into the program, very in depth. We teach them how to structure a discovery call. There's 1 call close so the prospect sells themselves, how to handle objections before they even come up in the first place, how to present pricing in a way that makes the investment feel like a no-brainer, and how to close without being pushy or salesy, and how to follow up with prospects who need time to think properly. We also get them set up with the tools they need to manage the entire process. We use Go High Level and VidLead. VidLead is a white label version of Go High Level. It's a CRM specifically designed for agencies to manage communication with prospects, send automated follow-ups, book calls, and track every interaction. And we've pre-built pretty much every automation you possibly need already. It's plug and play. We teach them how to send information and resources to leads before the sales call to warm them up and prep them for the call. Think about it. If someone books a call with you and you send them a case study video showing how a similar business, how you helped them get 50 qualified leads in 30 days, they're going to show up to that call already half sold. We also make sure they get notifications the second a lead books so they can reach out immediately. Speed to lead is everything. If someone fills out your form and you wait 24 hours to hit them up and respond, you've already lost them. But if you call them within 5 minutes, your chances of booking that call go up by, statistically, 400%. Now, here's the first sales call, right? There's a moment that happens in week 3, and I've seen it hundreds of times now. It's when a student gets their first sales call notification. It's inevitable. It happens every time. Their phone buzzes, they open the app, and they see that someone, a real business owner with a real name, phone number, and business and email, and a real business owner that has a real problem with real money has booked a call with them. And then everything changes. Suddenly, this is not theoretical anymore. This isn't just a course or a program or mentorship that they bought or they joined. This is real. Someone wants to talk to them about paying them thousands of dollars to solve a problem. And for some students, this is the moment they realize, holy shit, this actually works. And then we just go, duh. For others, this is the moment the imposter syndrome kicks in hard. What if they ask me a question I don't know the answer to? What if they realize I've never done this before? What if I mess up? This is why we give you insane trainings to prep you for the call, and it's why we review all your calls with our students. You can record calls, send them to us. We'll break down exactly what went well and what can be improved, and we'll show you exactly where you missed an opportunity to address an objection, where you could have been more confident in the pricing structure in your pitch, where you talk too much instead of listening properly. It's like literally having a sales coach in your corner for every single call. We even have AI sales call review systems, which are absolutely insane. So by the end of week 3, students should have their ads live and running, their first leads coming in, their first sales calls booked on their calendar, the tools and training to close those calls. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where theory becomes practice. This is where you find out if you actually have what it takes. And I'll tell you what, if most of these guys can figure it out, you'll be fine. Just don't overthink it. Week 4. It's where everything comes together or falls apart. Students should have sales calls to review with their coach, and hopefully they should have their first close. Those $10,000 contracts that change everything. Once you close your first client using the system, everything shifts. You are no longer hoping this works and leaning on the results of others. You know it works. You've seen it with your own eyes. You have deposited the money into your bank account. That first close is proof of concept that you know what you're doing. And once you have proof of concept, it's just a matter of scaling and doing more of it. Now, let me tell you about Nathaniel, because his story is the perfect example of what's possible when you take fast action and you trust the process. He joined 7 days ago, 1 week. In that time, he completed onboarding and offer training. We polished up his offer, made sure he was good to go there. We got his first ad running and dialed. Already had leads and calls coming through immediately, and he closed an $8,000 contract and collected $2,000 on day 7. 7 days. From $0 to $8,000 in contracted revenue with $2,000 in the bank account. Now, is this timeline typical? No. Most students take the full 30 days to get their first close, but it's absolutely possible if you move with urgency. Don't let the mental barriers slow you down, and you just do the things that we tell you to do in the time frame we do it, and you just hit the play button. It's that simple. Compare that to Isaac, who took 90 days to launch his first ad because he was overthinking everything. Same program, same access to materials, same training, same support. The only difference was mindset and speed of implementation and execution. Now, by week 4, everybody should be tracking their KPIs daily, and I mean religiously. These numbers determine whether your ads, your sales system, your nurture system are working or not. Let's talk about cost per lead. How much are you paying to get someone to fill out your form? We aim for under $50, ideally under $30. Cost per booked call. How much are you paying to get someone on your calendar for a call? We aim for under $150. Show up rate. What percentage of people who actually book the call show up to the call? We aim, and our student averages are above 70%. Close rate. What percentage of people who actually show up to the call become a client and you close and collect cash? We aim for 30 to 50%. These numbers tell you everything. If your CPL is high, your ad creative or your targeting needs work. If your cost per booked call is high or above target, you're not calling them fast enough, i.e. within 5 minutes, or you're not following a proper triage call script properly. And most importantly, you're not following up with your leads. Another quick example, Jace. he did $26,000 in cash collected within a 30-day time frame from absolutely nothing. Started from zero. Actually have a pretty awesome testimonial interview that we have that's on YouTube. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Jace actually made a post and he said, lesson of the day, don't give up on follow-up. He called his lead 9 times this week and finally got a hold of him. And just 4 days into December, he already collected $18,000 in cash, closed 6 new deals with $14,000 pending because he's relentless with his follow-up and he calls all of his leads immediately. It's that simple. And then by doing that, you will bring down your cost per booked call. But here's the beautiful thing. Once you know the numbers, you know exactly what to fix. It's not guesswork anymore. It's literally just math and reading data. If you know your average cost per booked call is $120 and your close rate is 40%, that means you are paying $300 to acquire a client. If your average contract value is $8,000, you are getting a 26x return on your ad spend. For every dollar you spend on ads, you get 26 out. That's not a business. That's a money printing machine. And once you have those numbers dialed in, scaling is just a matter of increasing your ad spend. Word of warning. These timelines are not set in stone. Some students who are relentless about taking action have sales calls by week 2. I've seen students who script, film, and edit their ads by the end of week 1. And Nathaniel's proof that it's possible to close your first contract in 7 days within that number if you move fast and execute without hesitation. Kaelan is proof that if you take action within the first 2 weeks, you can scale to over $17,000 per month in recurring revenue in less than 4 months. Isaac's proof that even if you waste 3 months overthinking, the moment you finally launch, results can come within 24 hours, and usually they do. Or Jace, who collects over $26,000 in cash within 30 days. The difference is not talent or experience. It's literally mindset. It's speed of execution. It's the willingness to be uncomfortable. It's the ability to take imperfect action instead of waiting for the perfect conditions because you'll never have it. Now, here's what happens after your first close. Once you close your first client, the game changes completely. You're no longer in startup mode. You are in scaling mode. Now it's about refining your systems and your fulfillment, improving your ad creative to lower your cost per lead, tightening your sales script to increase your close rate, building out your client fulfillment process, your team, so you can deliver results consistently, automations, AI, hiring team members so you can remove yourself from day-to-day operations. And here's where it gets really fun. Once you're consistent with this process, the numbers, they become predictable. You'll know that if you spend $1,000 on ads, you'll get approximately 30 leads. And of those 30 leads, about 10 will book a call. And of those 10 calls, about 7 of them will show up. And of those 7 that show up, about 3 of them will close. So $1,000 in ad spend equals 3 new clients at $8,000 each, which is $24,000 in contracted revenue. And if those clients pay the first month upfront at $2,000 each, that's $6,000 in immediate cash collected from $1,000 in ad spend. That is a 6x return on cash in the first 30 days, with the remaining $18,000 coming in over the next few months. Imagine you scale that to $3,000 per month in ad spend. That's 9 new clients. That's $72,000 in contracted revenue. That's $18,000 in immediate cash collected if they do payment plans and don't pay up front. That is how you go from $5K per month to $20K per month to $50K per month. It is not magic. It's literally just math. It sounds simple when I lay it out like this, but the truth is there's so many mental barriers that my students have to overcome in order to be successful. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, disbelief in themselves, imposter syndrome, analysis paralysis. The list literally goes on. Isaac spent 3 months paralyzed by these fears. The moment he pushed through and he launched, he booked 8 calls in 24 hours. Kaelan could have stayed comfortable making $10K per month doing real estate media, but he pushed through the discomfort of pivoting his entire offer. And now he's at $17.5K per month. Honestly, at the time of filming this video, he's probably making more by the time you're watching this. More than likely he is. With better margins and less fulfillment time. Nathaniel could have spent weeks getting ready, but he moved with urgency. And within 7 days, he had $8,000 in contracted revenue. The difference between these students and the ones who don't make it isn't talent. It's not experience. It's not even luck. It is their willingness to be uncomfortable, to take imperfect action with urgency, to trust the process even when their brain is screaming at them to play it safe. But I also got to be honest with you. Not everyone makes it. About 10% of people who join never even finish the first month. They get overwhelmed by the offer, realize this is actually about building a real business, not just making cool videos, and they got to step out of their comfort zone, and then they disappear. Another 15 to 20% get stuck in analysis paralysis. They don't even launch their first ads for a month or more. Overthinking, over-researching, over-preparing, and under-executing. But the remaining 70% who actually follow the process and do what we tell them to do in the timeframes that we tell them to do it, the ones who push through the discomfort, who take imperfect action and iterate based on real data instead of hypothetical scenarios, they start seeing results, real results, measurable results, life-changing results. They go from $5K per month to $15,000 to $20,000 per month, from 10 to 25, from inconsistent freelance income to predictable recurring revenue. They go from working 60-hour weeks fulfilling one-off projects hoping to find the next one from a referral to working 30-hour weeks managing systems that run without them. They go from hoping a client refers them to someone having a predictable pipeline of qualified leads booking calls with them every single week. The question isn't whether this works. We've got hundreds of success stories that prove that it does. The question is whether you have what it takes to push through the uncomfortable, inevitable, necessary parts of building a sustainable business that stop most people. Now, when you join working with us, we don't just hand you a playbook and then wish you luck, tell you to watch these videos and say, there you go, you got it. We coach and support you from beginning to end, touch points along the entire process. We review your offers. We review your scripts. We review your ads. We review your sales calls. We help you overcome the mental barriers that would otherwise stop you. You get bi-weekly one-on-one coaching calls to keep you accountable and on track. Access to our complete training library with step-by-step modules and offer creation, ad scripting, sales, fulfillment, and scaling. Proven ad scripting templates organized by niche, sales script framework that consistently closes between 20 and 40%, access to our private community of well over 120 other videographers across the country who are building the same type of business, direct support via Slack when you get stuck or you have questions, reviews of your actual work, your scripts, your ads, your calls, so you get personalized feedback, not generic advice from someone who barely made any money in the past. This is not a course that you buy and then figure out on your own. This is an intensive 4-month one-on-one coaching curriculum and program where we work with you directly to implement everything to guarantee success. Is this for you? If you want to see exactly how the system works and whether you have what it takes to push through those first 30 days, click the link below and book a call with my team. We will interview you to see if you fit this system and you'd be a good fit to work with us. We'll show you the exact offer framework that Kaelan used to go from nothing with this offer to $17.5K per month in 4 months, the ad scripts that Isaac used to book 8 calls in 24 hours at $4 per lead, the sales process Nathan's using to close $8,000 in his first 7 days, and most importantly, how to overcome the mental barriers that stop 80% of people from ever making it past doing anything when they're trying to do it on their own. But fair warning, again, this is not for everyone. If you're looking for some get-rich-quick scheme where you don't have to do any work, this isn't it. And quite frankly, you're not going to find that anywhere. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable for 30 days while you build something real, this is not it. If you're going to be like Isaac in his first 90 days, overthinking everything, making excuses and avoiding the hard parts, don't waste your time or your money, and don't waste our time. This is for serious people, serious videographers who want to build a real business that generates real results for real clients. This is for people who are willing to take imperfect action, learn from the data, and iterate until they get it right. This is for people who understand that the biggest obstacle between them and success is not external. It's the voice in their head telling them they're not ready yet. If that sounds like you, click the link below in the description of this video, book the call, and let's see if you're ready to join the students who are actually making this work and making anywhere between $15,000 and $90,000 a month in their business. Because here's the truth. 30 days from now, you're going to be in one of the two positions. Either you're going to be like Nathan, Kaelan, or Isaac with ads running, calls booked, and contracts closed, or you'll still be in the same place you are right now watching this YouTube video, watching other people build the businesses that you wish you had. The only difference between those two outcomes is the decision that you make right now. So click the link, book the call. Let's get to work. If you don't, and you just like wasting your time watching cool, funny, at least I think I'm kind of funny, YouTube videos that seem valuable, that make you feel like you are being productive, then watch the rest of my YouTube videos, and I will see you on the next one.